There we go. All right, we have we have names and life totals up now, which is very nice to see. And you can see down there where they're from and what their names are. So we've got Lorenzo on Golgari, Gleezard, and Rafal on Mono Blue Terror. So this matchup is rather interesting. So Mono Blue Terror doesn't have too much interaction, and it also depends on what uh, interaction spells they actually do run, because they only have they usually their only sort of interaction with the board is either Demon Furia or Boomerang. And Demon Furia is sorcery speed, so it's not that great of trying to stop the Brood Scale combo from going off. And because this is the um, uh, green black version, it's very focused on the combo. So you need that instant speed interaction to try to stop it, especially with just like a pile of counterspell, spell pierce to stop all that duresses and Tamiyo's safekeeping that they will have to try and stop you from interacting with their combo so they can go off. All right. Unsure if they've rolled any dice to see who's going first, but it looks like they're going to be drawing their 7, and we'll see if anyone mulligans. Chat saying I'm left alone. It's true, and it is. It's a little hard to try and fill in the air all the time, especially when there's not too much happening on screen. But once the action starts happening, I'll be fine, I think. All right, so it looks like the Terra Pilot is going to go for a mulligan. From a quick glimpse there, I couldn't see many lands, so and knowing whenever I've played Terra, you always have these one land brainstorm hands that you always want to like see if it will pay off. But as soon as you like see those 3 cards and none of them are lands, you are locked and you cannot come back. And then it's almost just an instant loss. So you can't keep hands like that. All right, so let's see if this odds for a turn 1 Delver. Uh, generally pretty high. It seems whenever I play against it, they always have a turn 1 Delver. It's usually like a 30% chance it flips, so I'm pretty good at not flipping Delvers. But them actually having the turn 1 Delver is pretty high. And there it is. Look, turn 1 Delver, 50% of the time it happens every time, right? And so what do we so turn 1 from the Gleezard player. That's a very good turn 1 play. So you'd hope to flip your Delver, which happens. So now they can't just Deadly Dispute this Shambling Ghast to be able to kill the Delver of Secrets. So that was a very lucky flip there. So let's see if we get a second land drop. We do. And we get to swing in with the Delver, and the clock starts happening. So turn 1 Delver flip is a heck of a clock. It it's very hard to like try and interact with it when they just keep holding up counter spells. So this is 7 turns and they will be dead, because I don't think there's any way that the Gleezard player can actually deal with this. So it looks like they just play a Swamp and Pass, holding up Deadly Dispute most probably, in which they will probably sacrifice the Shambling Ghast and get 2 treasures when that happens. And it looks like the Terror player at end of turn is going to double Thought Scour, and because they're now tapped out, they're going to Deadly Dispute. Oh, it's just Eviscerator Synthesite, not Deadly Dispute. So they'll still get the 1 treasure, just not the 2 like it was from if it being a Deadly Dispute. I have deck lists now too, if I need to look at anything. But my guess is that these would be sort of standard stock lists because they are pretty stock decks. So Delver gets in again. So that's hit twice. down to 14 and just pass turn. Hold up counter spells. I can't see how many instants or sorceries they have in their graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5. There is a Sleep of the Dead in the graveyard, which will be quite handy if they do manage to get a Terror down to be able to help push through in the end. So it looks like the Glee player has managed to find a green source to be able to Malevolent Rumble, but that gets hit with a counterspell. And then they decide to, because they only had 1 mana up, the only thing they could have was Spell Pierce. So now was the perfect opportunity to try and resolve that Brood Scale. So now if it's worth trying to get this off the board or just keep holding up counter spells to try and stop the combo from happening. In which it's sort of hard to see what they've got in hand. You can see an island, and I believe there's a Lorien revealed as well, which is what they're going to use. And they'll probably just play that island. Playing lovely bowl full art islands. It's like the classic full art island from Zendikar. I do like this island. It is very pretty. It's probably one of my favorite full art islands, other than those Theros Pokemon style lands that I like so much. And crack in with the Delver, go down to 11. So 3 swings in, and there's a Terror, and we've got another Terror. So they're not even going to fake that they've got the counterspell in hand. They're just going to try to apply as much pressure to the board as possible and hope that they can kill them the next turn. Because all they've got left is a basic island, but they could be bluffing a Spell Pierce here. So as the Glee player, you don't actually know. So you do see what it is, which is with the Duress, because it could be that Spell Pierce. But now you know the coast is clear. But you are short on mana, so you can't actually combo off this turn unless you hit an untapped land. Infinite colorless mana. So now they can't actually, so now they're going to swing in with an infinite powered Brood Scale, so they have to block with a Terror, and because a creature died, even though it was on the opponent's side, Sadistic Glee does trigger, put a counter, so he gets Anxious Spawn. So now it's hard for this Terror to get through, so there's an infinite powered attacker here with infinite mana next turn. And all they can really do is attack him with a Delver to get them down to 8. So what they really need is like the Demon Inferior or Boomerang, which I'm not entirely sure what they have. I should have probably checked the deck list, but I'm very caught up in looking at what they're playing. So it looks like they're going to Sleep the Dead on the Brood Scale to hope that they don't have any way of using the infinite mana. So now there is an infinite powered creature that's tapped down. So at least now they can swing with this Terror, which they do. And the spawns are just invincible. So the attack with the Terror was pretty useless. Sometimes you forget that even when a spawn dies, it just makes another spawn. So the attack was completely not great there, because now they could put another Sadistic Glee on one of the other spawns and then make that infinite power and be able to swing and kill them. So it probably should have been better to keep back the Terror. So that was a misplay there, because it could make them lose the game. But we'll see what Lorenzo manages to do with infinite colorless mana here. Usually it's just like chain Deadly Dispute into Eviscerator's Insight. But they do have an Eviscerator's Insight in the graveyard, so I expect that they would play that. So we'll see what happens here. Like there's so many different ways of winning here. So they've tapped the spawn to say, I sacrifice this for whatever mana I need, and now they're going to sacrifice it to the Eviscerator's Insight by using a black mana. So we'll draw 2 cards. Just drew 2 lands. Let's see. The lands are pretty easy to spot in their hand. So they've got, I think, 4 lands in hand now. All right, so now they're going to Malevolent Rumble. they've ripped the counterspell, which is great off the top. So it really cuts them down, and they've got nothing. So I wonder. Oh, it's an Ichor Wellspring. I think in their hand they should have cast it if that's what it is. But there's definitely 3 lands plus an unknown in the Glee player's hand, and now they just have to. So unsure what the Terra Pilot. I guess they've drawn a. Oh, they've got a Demon Furia. So I guess they're thinking if it's worth bouncing the Brood Scale, which is what they do, or if it's worth using another Sleep of the Dead. Okay, Tamiya's Safekeeping was that last card in here. So the problem now is that they don't have 3 mana left over to use the Sleep of the Dead to be able to tap down the Brood Scale. So it's going to be able to untap. So it's going to get another swing in. So your Terra's gone, which is fine because it wasn't doing anything anyway. So here it comes in. So we got a block. Otherwise, we're just literally dead. Gets another spawn. Oh, a nice shiny spawn. Or it could just be, I guess, just a sleeve upside down. There was a lot of glare yesterday, so it's sort of hard for me to tell. And we replayed the Brood Scale. They didn't have another Sadistic Glare, otherwise they would have used it the turn prior to be able to have infinite power. And looks like they just pass. So it's going to be another Delver swing. This one Delver could get there. So it's going to be another Sleep of the Dead, would be my guess. Tap down the infinite powered Brood Scale. Ooh, we're tapping out. We're going to Lauren Revealed. That is very risky. Especially because you know they've got nothing currently in their hand, or otherwise they would have used any of it. So I think I guess it's rough because you've got this Lauren Revealed in hand that you're not going to be able to use otherwise. But I think that Delver is your only win condition, and you can use Sleep of the Dead at least, twice more to be able to keep that infinite powered Brood Scale down, which would leave them on 1, and you'd have to hope to try to find something else. But I don't know. It seems a little risky because I think you cannot get through with Terrors at this point. You can only rely on having this Delver to be able to swing in and do the damage. Chat points out that they probably wanted the top deck Demon Furia, which is fair because they would be able to cast it if they did get it because they drew that many cards. Reveals Force Spike and an Island. So they drew 2 islands and a Force Spike. They hit another Glee anyway, so that makes 2 infinite powered attackers, and they are toast. So even if we did go with the Sleep of the Dead plan, it wasn't going to work because they did hit the Deadly Dispute to be able to draw 3 cards off that Ichor Wellspring, and just too much card draw at that point. So 1-0 to Golgari Gleezard, which is what I would assume is the favored matchup, just because you have those Duresses main to be able to stop the interaction, and you can just keep putting spawns in front of the Terrors to be able to bide time until you manage to get. Ooh, and I think my co-host might be on soon. we managed to do game 1 by myself, so we did it. We had an all right time.
Am I live? So how did game 1 go?
I'm sorry. Game 1. So game 1, the Terra Pilot mulligan to 6. They hit a toe 1 Delver. They got it to flip, and they managed to beat down with that every turn. But the Broodscale Pilot did have the Broodscale plus Gilly on turn 4, I believe, after duressing to see that they had no interaction. But they had no payoff for the infinite mana. So they just had an infinite powered lizard that just kept getting chumped by terrors while the Delver chipped in the air. But it got to a point where it just ran out of cards and couldn't stop the infinite powered creature.
Well, that's to be expected. Does Mono Blue Terror, what sort of, let's say, soft removal does he play? Is he going for?
So yeah, I was talking about this at the start. I'm not too sure because some lists run Demon Furia and some lists run Boomerang. Most lists don't run both; they run one or the other. So we saw Demon Furia in game one, so they're running Demon Furia. And now looking at the sideboard, they are running 3 Demon Furia, not 4 that some lists run. So
Yeah.
In the sideboard for this matchup, they have 1 Echoing Truth. Just any more interactions, fine, especially at instant speed. They have
annuls to
4 annuls, to try to stop sadistically. They also have 1 of Murmuring Mystic, which is a fine card just to keep making blockers, and it's just like a threat that goes over the top because, as we saw in this game, they made a pile of spawn tokens after they went infinite, and they could not get through except with the Delver in the air. So that could be an option. And they also have another Sleep of the Dead in the sideboard, which they hit off a Thought Scour in game 1, which did tap down that Brood Scale for at least 1 turn. They could have done it a couple of other turns, but they had to tap out to cast a Lorien Revealed. So
yeah, that's a nice addition. The Sleep of the Dead.
Yeah, I really like.
Pun intended.
Yeah, I really like the 1 of main. It just like some lists used to run Artful Dodge as a way to just get in that last point of damage, and it's just like incidental card advantage because you usually mill it off a Mental Note or Thought Scour. But yeah, Sleep of the Dead is almost like Artful Dodge. It just, you can reuse it. It's Sure, it costs 3 mana instead of 1, but the fact that you can use it like twice in 1 turn, and you can also use it defensively instead of offensively, which is also
that's the most
very
important
handy.
thing.
Yeah.
It comes up very often. Even
so
against the mirror match.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to cast it on a Tolarian Terror, but on a
of
Cryptic
course
Serpent
not.
or a Delver, that's what you want to do.
Delver.
So in the sideboard of the Glee player, they have 4 Drown in Sorrow, which is not really that great. They have 1 Mesmeric Fiend, which you would want to bring in because any sort of hand disruption is what you want against the blue decks. 4 Weather Storm is this matchup.
With the synergy with Deadly Dispute and just removing the card from the opponent's
just
hand.
Rip the card straight away. So, if people don't know how that works, if you cast Mesmeric Fiend, because a lot of the Mesmeric Fiend uses old templating, all the new ones like Kite Sail, Freebooter, and the Bat that's been played in Standard that I can never remember the name of.
That's
they say
not a real format.
No. It's whatever. It's like whenever it leaves play, for as long as this is in play, the card's stuck underneath it. But the Mesmeric Fiend has 2 separate triggers. So when it comes into play, the trigger goes on the stack. You can sacrifice it. Then the leaves play trigger will go on the stack, and then it'll resolve, and then the first one will try to resolve, and then you just get to exile the card in hand, and it'll never get it back. So.
So when the leaving trigger resolves, there's no card to be returned to the hand.
So the leaving trigger's already resolved, because there was nothing taken yet. All right, turn 1 Delver again? 50% of the time it happens every time. So, there we go. Deep Cavern Bat, chat says. So, there we go. Someone play Standard in chat. All right, ooh. Turn 1 Snuff Out. So they brought in the Snuff Outs, which is like a good option because that Delver did do a lot. It almost single-handedly won the game last time. So being able to stop that is pretty handy.
Very easily deal more than 4 damage.
And they don't even get to look at the top card of their library before they draw it now, which is very sad.
Sadly, Mono Blue doesn't have that much manipulation of the top of the deck, except for cards like Mental Note and the other one. That's pretty much the same. So one thing you can do is wait as a Mono Blue player. You can wait for the Delver trigger. When it resolves, instead of drawing the card after it resolves, you can still cast spells. So you can mill that. In order
or cycle Lorien
you don't
Revealed.
Like it. Yeah.
Those are all options. So this is so what just happened here is exactly what happened in game 1, where it's end of turn. So they played a land past turn. Holding up like Deadly Dispute. It was Eviscerated Insight at this point. And the Terror Pilot decided to Mental Note and then Thought Scour. So they did not hold up Spell Pierce at all. So as soon as that window was open, they knew it was the time to draw those 2 cards.
Yeah, if you can decide what you can draw, yeah, that
So
makes you a very good player.
yeah, it's just the turn 3 terror. That's pretty good.
That's
so
scary.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4,
1 mana
5.
open for the. Oh, he has an annul, I think.
It's hard to tell from this angle. I think it might be a very old annul. I think you are correct. So holding the annul up will protect them from a turn 3 combo because they do have the treasure there to be able to get the green for the brood scale.
Oh.
But it looks like we're just going to see a duress.
Does he have 2 pieces of permission now?
Mm.
He's thinking about removing his mana.
You cannot dispel a sorcery.
Yeah, that's an instant.
Which is what the opponent says.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, that... Yeah, let's see what he has in hand. Counterspell, Annul, Dispel, and Mental Note, I think.
Yeah. So what you would take here, so if you want to try to combo off this turn, so the only way you can combo off this turn, because you've already played your land, because you've got 3 mana left, right? So it's going to have to be, you can't do it this turn, because you have to be Brood Scale plus Glee, but then you need something to die.
Exactly.
Even if you had...
can't target... Yeah, if you had the Snuff Out, you can't target the Tolarian Terror. I mean, you can, but it will be... It won't resolve.
It will counter itself, yes.
Yeah. So he can't win this turn. I mean, taking the annul is fine because the 1 mana interaction means having 1 mana interaction means that mono blue Rafal can just keep 1 mana open and be covered.
Yeah, it's always easier to hold up 1 mana than it is 2. I probably would have taken the counterspell just because it can hit anything, even though it does cost 2 mana. But either option is probably correct.
Yeah, because I mean, Gleezard does the Golgari version doesn't really have a mid-range plan like the Jund version, so he really needs to resolve the combo. So Annul is pretty much the same as Counterspell in this case. Yeah, it would be different if you played like Chrysalis, because at that point you want to resolve the Chrysalis, and Annul does nothing for that. But in this matchup, I think it's fine to take the Annul instead of the Counterspell.
Yeah. Chat points out that they could not have cast Terror the turn earlier because they did not have, and hold up 1 mana, they did not have enough instants or sorceries in graveyard. It's sort of hard for us to tell, but yeah, the Delver and the Terror are the first and third cards, and there is an island in there as well. So there was only 3 or 4 instants of sorceries in graveyard at that point, so they either could not cast it or had to tap out to do so. So that was a missed... like a slight angle shoot there by the Terror pilot, but I guess if you don't catch them, you can't. Well, it's hard for us to tell too. Like when things are going this quick, it's hard to.
Yeah, and it's also hard to understand really how many instants and sorceries are there in the graveyard.
Yeah,
it's not.
I guess
from our position.
If you're their opponent, you should like check every time they do cast a Terror. It's just like, oh, how much is that exactly?
Yeah.
Just to be able to make sure you're not getting angle shot out of the game. So it looked like they counterspelled the Nedia's Nightblade, and they have chumped with a Spawn, I believe. They definitely didn't take any damage from that Terror that swing.
Yeah, but where did the Spawn come from? Okay, yeah, here's a Malevolent Rumble.
Oh, it was a plant. There's a
that's okay.
Yeah. There's a colony card.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
So yes.
Right, so Malevolent Rumble. Yeah, it's either Nadia's Nightblade or a land. So unless and this you can technically cycle the landscape because you have the treasure to get red.
Yeah, but that's a.
But you're better off just having the Nightblade.
Yeah, that's not a very good position to be in.
At least
it's a card you can win.
Yeah. It can. Next
you can
turn,
gain life.
It can drain them for 2.
Yeah. It might come up if you manage to gain like 5 life. It's another turn of swinging for mono blue, so that's another turn to find the combo.
Yep.
It's not irrelevant.
Yeah. And also now, because the Lorenzo is aware of what's in of that Dispel, they know they've got the Dispel in hand, so they're not going to be playing Deadly Disputes very willy-nilly, let's say.
Yeah.
play it without expecting some interaction. They know it's there, so they're going to try and sort of bluff it out whenever they can. It looks like they're just going to filter, get rid of a land out of their library because they really do not want to be drawing another one. Yeah.
I mean, even because the dispel doesn't really help against the combo because none of the pieces are instants.
No.
So really, baiting out the dispel is just in order to cast another one of the sack draw two.
Yeah, it's pretty much only there to stop the card draw spells.
Yeah.
Or maybe a Tamiyo's safekeeping. That's the only other thing
Yeah. Sure.
But even then, half the time you have a lot of interaction that doesn't really care about Tamiyo's safekeeping.
Yeah, because Demon Fury is a sorcery, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Demon Fury is a sorcery.
So really has only the Echoing Truth to combat
as instant speed interaction. Yeah. So
other than the counter spells, of course.
Yeah, so Rafal does have lethal in play currently.
Yeah.
So Lorenzo is going to have to play this Nadia's Nightblade to at least gain a life off sacking that treasure to not die, if not block one of these big serpents.
Or Nadir resolves when the token goes to the graveyard, when you sack the token. So he can sack the treasure and go to 1.
Yes, yeah, that's what I mean. So that Nightblade had to resolve there to even have a chance of surviving, or at least bluff out something else to be able. There we go. So going to sack the treasure, lose 1, gain 1.
Leaving on the edge.
Yeah. Are we going to 1, or are we going to block with the Nightblade as well?
I think at this point it doesn't really matter if you block with the Nadir, because you still will die on the next turn.
Yeah.
So just try to find the combo and win on the spot with Nadir. That's probably the best. Oh, but Tamiyo's safekeeping may keep him above 5 life if he manages to sling some tokens on the board.
Yeah. All right, so Lorenzo goes to 1. Interesting to note that Rafal did not cast the Dispel on the Eviscerator's Insight.
Yeah, that's unexpected.
Which I find interesting. I'd be... Malevolent Rumble. That's not something you want to resolve, because that's another blocker and another, 1 life.
And
but that's what you want to see. Malevolent Rumble is absolutely nothing. I guess there's a creature there.
Yeah, it's a creature, it's a token, it's another life.
Yeah.
It's a blocker. Yeah, it could be worse.
Yeah, this is true. So they've managed to be able to get 2 blockers to be able to live another turn.
Going to 3.
Yeah,
and then the Tamiyo brings him up to 5. Yeah, that's not enough to block both.
They've got a fistful of 6 cards too. 2 of which are Tamiyo's safekeepings. So they could survive a decent amount of... Whoop, there's a Brood Scale. Are we going to see the combo, is the question, or is this just a value Brood Scale? Alright, going to Thought Scale first. I believe this is irresponsible.
Double counterspell, that's hard.
Rough. Yeah, and they've already used 1, so that means there's only 1 counterspell left in the library.
But he has a Spell Pierce.
Yeah,
I think.
So it should be they drew the Spell Pierce ages ago.
And the Lorien. Okay, he cycles the Lorien, getting an island, I guess.
Yep.
Not really any meaning to put any other type of lands.
Which isn't fantastic. You'd want to try and use the Lorien to draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
But then you tap yourself out, and then they're probably just going to combo off, so you can't really afford to do it.
Not with the Gleezard on the board.
Yeah.
But anyway, Mono Blue doesn't really need to develop the board anymore. He can just win with these.
It just keep swinging with what they've got, and then just draws another Lorien revealed. So
yeah, does it take the chances to draw an island and be open only for 1 piece of interaction? I don't know.
Yeah, because Spell Pierce, when they've got 6 lands and a spawn, is not going to do too great. And Dispel does not stop the combo. So we'll tag with both. They will block with the 2 tokens.
Maybe sack 1, get mana. Sack the other one.
We're gonna
or maybe the icon. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So now you got to use the Dispel here. I would
think
assume.
so, yeah.
Just got to cut them off some cards.
I mean, there aren't really any other targets.
Yeah.
I mean, the best target is Deadly Dispute, but this is a very nice contender for that.
Yeah.
Even
I'll still
Spell
draw the
Pierce
one
is nice
card.
in this position, but yeah, you might want to keep the Spell Pierce.
Yeah. Actually, well, Spell Pierce is... Yep, let's it resolve. Okay.
Oh, it resolves. Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess you got to try to, like,
really
bluff what you've got.
But he knows about the Dispel, so...
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows... Okay, so he obviously, while that was going on, made the decision to... There's another Dispel. Drew 2 lands and Dispel. So in hand now is two Dispels, 2 islands, and a Spell Pierce. Yeah. So none of those will stop a sadistic Glee if it manages to be the first thing to play. But my guess would be a Duress if they've got it in hand. Just to see if the coast is clear, which it is. And if you've got, let's say they've drawn Last Rites. And how many cards have they got in hand? 5? You know one's a Dispel. Do you just discard 4 cards to make sure you get rid of everything but the Dispel?
I definitely would if I had the Glee in hand.
Especially got the Glee.
You can just win.
Well, they've got like 7
every
cards
piece of
in hand, so.
Yeah. I think he doesn't really have these... so he's trying to find them. He has enough mana to just play around.
So may not have the Glee, may not have just the protection to be able to resolve the Glee.
Yeah. So he taps 2 mana,
There's Deadly Dispute.
Does he take the bait?
Well, yep. Ancestral Recall. We'll draw another 3 cards. Thank you.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Broodscale, land, and unsure what the 3rd card was. So none of which are the cards we know that they need to be able to win.
I think the plan is to block with the with both creatures and use Tamiyo on both. Or maybe block just one and use both Tamiyos still.
Yeah.
That doesn't play around the Dispel.
No. And they've drawn a 2nd Dispel too, so the double Dispel could actually if they've drawn nothing here, the double Dispel is pretty good against this double Tamiyo Safekeeping, if that's all they're going to do this turn.
So it makes the token, of course.
Make the spawn, yep.
Does he chump block with the Gleezard? I think so. The Gleezard, not the Gleezard, of course.
Yeah, interesting. I'm not too sure. I don't know what you block with. I think they've got a 2nd Broodscale in hand.
Yeah.
So I think you're fine with blocking with the Broodscale rather than the Nightblade, because you've already lost 1 Nightblade. I think they usually only run 2. So, this I can see the list. The list is running 3. So, but trying to find that last one would be rather harder, and it is the easiest win condition.
Yeah.
To
but it's not especially needed, because once you have an infinite power creature, I mean, at that point you have to be aware of the Demon Fears.
Yeah.
If you want to win through combat.
Yeah, or the Sleep of the Dead, which is what came up in game 1.
Yeah. What did he draw?
Oh, so the tapping out for Lauren revealed paid off.
Yeah.
That I was not expecting. Okay, so we'll take it with both. So you'd think it should be Broodscale plus spawn, and then you'd expect a Tamiyo Safekeeping on the Broodscale, which is what's going to happen.
See, I guess, the first Dispel.
And this should be the Dispel.
Yeah, I mean, if you kept this.
Yeah.
Oh, Spell Pierce.
Spell Pierce, which makes sense because...
yeah, he has the mana. Okay, he sucks the tokens. Goes to 5. Now Dispel.
Yeah, now you've got a Dispel. Oh, we're going to Deadly Dispute it. Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Interesting choice.
I mean, the Lizard is sacked. So, to prevent 2 draws, and then token hit the board.
Is this in response to the Spell Pierce?
Yep. I thought it was paying the mana, but...
Yeah, so instead of paying the mana for the Spell Pierce, they're just Deadly Disputing and sacrificing the Broodscale. Okay. That's a fair play. It does draw them cards. And now that you know that the the spell pierce is gone, you can tap out to do it. But they've got
And
two
he gains-
dispels. Why?
he gains 2
Why
life.
won't you? Why would
Yeah, I
you
mean,
use
that's
either
interesting.
of the dispels?
If you don't keep it for
Deadly
not
dispute.
for
It's the
semi
best.
dispute,
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not
So-
if you're not countering either Tabio safekeeping or deadly dispute,
yeah, what
are you going to use these dispels for?
the snuff outs with him at 5? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's a bit hard.
I'm just very confused. All right, we just keep digging. The two
is that
and
the
anyway,
that's the
and we've
mesmeric
added,
fiend, I think. Oh no, that's
did they?
is that the
that they
glee?
just drew? I think it's a glee that they just drew.
All right, so he now hits to. Okay, he has the combo
Yep. So
1 black mana
here we go.
with the treasure.
Let's see if this brood scale resolves. So Rafal's managed to put a 3rd terror in play too. So even can they survive if that brood scale doesn't resolve? Is the question. Okay, brood scale's resolved. So looks like Sadistic Glee is getting cast onto this brood scale off the treasure. Lorenzo goes up to 6, and that hand motion signifies that the Sadistic Glee has resolved. Yeah.
So it just needs to evolve the brood scale.
Yep. Which,
not evolve.
The only thing, because there's no interaction unless there's a snuff out in hand, which I mean the dispels will come in handy for that. Because that's a way to start triggering the death cycle with the Sadistically and what have you. So there we go.
Okay.
Activate.
Creates the token.
So does he? Yeah. Do we have the Echoing Truth? This is the question. This is the only thing they can have that can stop this from going off.
Yeah. Okay, he's explaining the combo.
Yep. And well,
And
there we
they
go. All right.
yeah.
Didn't have it. Yeah. Even you would have Echoing Truth the brood scale in response to the Sadistically anyway if you had it. So obviously didn't have it, but there was one more chance that they might have in case they wanted to do it that way. But that's just how this matchup goes sometimes.
Yeah. Not an easy matchup. Of course, when the opponent has the chance to win the game on the spot, you just have to keep yourself open. I mean, the decision to not cast those deadly disputes means that Lorenzo drew 4 cards more than he should have.
Yeah, I
get into the glee 4 turns earlier. It definitely helped me. It was definitely the point where Rafal had to push the advantage, try to put Lorenzo in a position where he had to just chump block with his combo pieces. And that's what was happening, but it definitely didn't pay off to not cast those spells.
And kept using just all the card draw spells to just keep having they had to discard a couple of times, just digging to find those combo pieces, and they managed to keep having enough blockers to be able to stop the serpents from beating in. But the two dispels the sideboard too, so if you're bringing them in, what are you bringing them in for? I don't know. If you didn't counter,
I think to fight against these snuff outs, but
it must be.
Yeah.
In which they already there was a turn 1 snuff out on the Delver, so that was one of them gone. But especially at
he's
those
been a bit
later
ruder
points.
now.
Yeah.
He was keeping display for the next game.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Sideboard, of course, for all snuff outs, the Mesmeric Fiend.
Yeah. And Rafal brought in 2 dispels, probably the Echoing Truth.
And I guess the nulls. Yeah. We saw one on null.
Yeah, and some nulls. Yeah.
Yeah, they can also counter the Ichor Wellsprings, which is also another draw 2 card.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, if you can cut them off, they have so much draw engine, but it does rely on having fodder to be able to actually use them.
I mean, making fodder is the one thing that Golgari Gleezard does very well with all the token spawns.
True.
And
Malevolent
the
Rumble.
plant.
Yeah, and plant token, and even just bruise scale itself.
Yeah.
We saw
A
it
lot
get
of jump blockers.
sacrificed probably at least, well, brute scale itself got sacrificed probably twice in this match.
Yep. Okay, let's see. Nico is telling up. Okay, no, there's no backup table. All the other tables have already started game 3. So we can take a pretty long break, unless you want to talk about anything. Does chat have any questions?
Does chat want to know anything?
Standings. Oh, is Golgari better than Jungli, in your opinion?
It depends on the matchups, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Jungli better. I just like having the backup plan of Writhing Chrysalis and being able to beat down. Golgari is just very hyper focused on that combo. Like I play White Weenie a lot, and it's pretty bad against Brood Scale just generally. But I seem to win way more against Golgari than I do against Jund with that, just because all they do is spin wheels. They spin wheels and do nothing. So that's why it's like, it's worst matchup is mono red, because mono red doesn't care if you're spinning wheels. It will just kill you.
Yeah.
So
are you fast enough to find your combo in turn 3? Because if you already go to turn 4, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
So yes, it depends a lot on the matchup and on the meta, I guess.
Yeah. So and like, it's Golgari's better against the decks with no interaction, obviously, because it's just a quicker combo.
Yeah.
And you have, and even it's probably slightly better against things with interaction, just because of the amount of protection it's got in the form of Duress and Tamiyo safekeeping. That's what the Jund deck has to lose to be able to fit those Writhing Chrysalis and Cleansing Wildfires in.
Exactly. We can see he's playing in the main 4 Duress.
It's usually like 3 and 3, I think.
4 Tamiyo safekeeping.
Oh, it's 4 and 4 Lorenzo. This one, okay.
Yeah. He just all in. He can't
all
stop
in on
me.
that protection. And 3 Nadia's Nightblade, some only run 2, so it's just And nice to point out that a lot of the Golgari decks these days are running Shambling Ghast, which we did see turn 1 both games. It's just a very handy card. It's very good in helping mitigate that red matchup. Because as I said before, that Golgari's worst matchup is the red deck, because all it does is spin its wheels and red will kill you.
Yes, and also red has the option of playing Lightning Bolt in the combo round, the combo turn. So even if it's the one posing questions, he still have the chance to fight against the combo. So very, very bad matchup.
Yeah, but at least like Shambling Ghast just gives you that extra like 1 or 2 turns to be able to just survive their creature onslaught.
Yeah. And even if you don't want the treasure, it trades with the goblin, so it's a nice turn 1 play.
It can either trade with like a Tomb Raider, or it can trade for 2/3 of a Golgari Rebirth.
A very normal card, very not busted card at all.
No, hey, it costs 2 cards to be able to get 3 things. Even though half the time what you're sacrificing draws you a card, if it's either Implement or Synthesizer. So
or the new monkey.
Even monkey these days. So nearly everything you sacrifice draws you a card, so it doesn't feel like it's a 2-for-1 at all.
Oh, thank you, chat. He's saying that my English is marvelous. Thank you. I love you.
Yes, I've had your English is probably better than mine half the time, because all I'm doing is rambling on.
So they're saying that we're still missing 5 minutes to the end of the round, plus the eventual additional turns. So if you want, we can take a break for like these 5 to 7 minutes, I guess, maybe 10.
Yeah, and I'll hang it in chat, and if chat wants to ask me anything, I'll just type back.
All right.
Save me talking into the camera.
Okay. So yeah, let's see. Let's take a break and see each other in 10 minutes.
Yep, for round 9. No, this was round 9. So round 10.
Round 10. Wow.
Yeah.
Round 10 of 13.
So many rounds deep.
Yeah, yeah.